The other thing that you touched on just a little bit ago was about the Satoshi. I forget the term that you used, but the kind of manifesto in a way about using Bitcoin as a not just a store of value, not just like digital gold, but as a currency. I'm curious to get your take on this because as we're seeing a lot of institutional investment, this has been something that has come up like a few times, as we're seeing a lot of institutional investment and companies buying and holding huge sums of Bitcoin. I'm wondering, like, do you think that could be sustainable when you've got sort of companies? Does it encourage people to use Bitcoin as a way of just, you know, buying or selling things when there's other people that are just kind of buying it to hold it indefinitely? My worry is like, how is that sustainable? But do you think that there's a way that could still, those two things can happen? You've got people just buying and holding, and then but people can still be able to transact.
Yeah, that's a great point. I think and I believe the Bitcoin network will self-regulate. Right now, we don't have enough infrastructure to enable people to use Bitcoin for their everyday purchases. In Zappo, we are doing our mission is to ensure this will happen, but it's still taking time. And right now, we are in a phase where people are considering Bitcoin as digital gold. Which is something good because more and more people discover Bitcoin, more and more people actually start understanding Bitcoin without the intention just to buy and sell higher, without the intention to speculate. They really understand the value. And now we have crazy investments in the Bitcoin infrastructure. You saw Tether, they are investing over 1 billion to start settling USD transactions on top of Bitcoin. In Zappo, as I mentioned, we are ensuring people can transact internationally 24/7 for less than 3 cents. Any fiat or stablecoin currency around the world from a regulated bank like we are. So this will happen, but we are not there yet. I also understand the concerns that if people are just keeping their Bitcoin as a digital gold, or they're keeping their Bitcoin in a treasury company or cold wallet, this is not going to provide enough incentives for miners to keep validating transactions after the Bitcoins have been mined, because I think the estimations right now are that in 2140, 99.999% of Bitcoins would have been mined, which is not giving enough incentives for miners. But that's the thing. I strongly believe that by then we are going to have the right infrastructure, which is built right now. Then in the next few years, we will see more and more people using Bitcoin as a settlement layer. And what is funny is that some people may not even understand that they're using Bitcoin. 2 days ago, on Tuesday, there was an announcement from SoFi. SoFi, it's quite a big digital bank in United States. Like they have over 10 million customers. And now they announced that they're going to start settling transactions between USD and Mexican pesos on top of Bitcoin. And the average retail user, they may not even understand that the transaction is happening on top of Bitcoin. What they care is that they press the button, the transaction is sent to their friends or family in Mexico for less than 1 second. They pay 1 or 2 cents, and that's it. They don't care if it's Bitcoin. They don't care if it's Swift or it's any of our traditional networks. And this is the browser moment for Bitcoin, because the internet was existing way before the browser became a mainstream. But once you have the browser, which is making everything so simple for you to access internet, then the internet really exploded. And right now we are ensuring we are building the browser for the Bitcoin, and people may even don't know how Bitcoin is working, but they're going to use it. It's going to improve their life, and it's going to improve the Bitcoin adoption.
Yeah, lots of exciting developments coming. Can you tell me a bit about how do people typically use Zappo Bank? Is it for transactions? Do they use it to hold their Bitcoin? And it's interesting that you said that you've got kind of clients. It's open to clients around the world, so anybody can open a Zappo Bank account. Would you mind just sort of telling me a bit more about Zappo and how it works?
Yeah, Zappo is actually the most unique Bitcoin value proposition right now on the market, and I'm not saying this because I'm working for Zappo. But let me walk you through what you can do right now with Zappo and what our members are doing. So we have members with Zappo since 2013, and those are the Bitcoin maxis who really understand the value of Bitcoin. Those are people who know that Bitcoin is appreciating over 40% year on year, and those are people who don't want to sell their Bitcoin at any price. They don't care if the price is 100,000 or 150 or 50,000. They want to keep their Bitcoin forever. But also, the Bitcoin has to work for you in one way, in one form or another. So what you can do right now with Zappo, you can receive interest on top of your Bitcoin. We are the first regulated bank offering interest on top of your Bitcoin without lending your Bitcoin. That's a very unique value proposition. You can use Bitcoin to pay with Lightning. If you have a friend somewhere and you want to send Bitcoin, you can use Lightning. It's very interesting also that you can use your debit card, international debit card, and pay with Bitcoin, which means we are going to take your Bitcoin and process a transaction with the debit card internationally. So you can actually bank with your Bitcoin. You can live on the Bitcoin standard without even touching fiat. We also have the inheritance feature, which means your Bitcoin is ensured that it's going to be passed to your heirs. And you can also buy and sell Bitcoin. Like selling Bitcoin, it's ridiculous, but some people, if they really need to sell Bitcoin, they can. And also, you can use Bitcoin for pretty much buying everything right now, and that's something we are offering. And what we are seeing is the type of customers that are joining Zappo. Those are real Bitcoin maxis who just don't want to sell their Bitcoin, but they want to make sure that Bitcoin can work for them. And those are people who are smart enough to understand that they don't want to be the single point of failure and keep their Bitcoin in a cold storage, because they know that if something goes wrong, their Bitcoin can be lost. And they know that if they use a trusted custodian like Zappo Bank, we are going to not only ensure your Bitcoin is secure, but actually make sure your Bitcoin will grow. So yeah, it's very interesting, especially for members from, as I mentioned, from Argentina, from China, from Peru, Brazil. Those people really need Bitcoin.
Hey, Anton, what do you think about this? I've always, I don't know how I feel about sort of traditional financial institutions becoming major Bitcoin players, because it seems like the creation of Bitcoin was in response to these types of institutions paying back, like making a mess out of the monetary system. So do you think is this a good thing? It's good in a way that it's allowing Bitcoin adoption, but are there any concerns that you have?
I think this is one of the craziest turnovers to have BlackRock now actively engage with Bitcoin and even actively promoting Bitcoin to their customers. I'm not very concerned that they own 3%, and let me explain why. BlackRock actually is using is working as a investment vehicle, which means there are retail customers behind, and also there are corporate customers behind that are buying their ETF. So even though that BlackRock as an entity is owning this, behind those Bitcoins, there are other people like me and you, for example, who purchase Bitcoin through IBIT. So the statement that BlackRock owned 3%, when we deep dive a few layers, we're going to figure it out that at the end those Bitcoins are not really owned by BlackRock. They're owned by people who gave them the paper USD in order to buy it. So I don't think this should be concerning. Actually, we should be happy that now it's easy for the average person to go and buy Bitcoin instead of using exchanges. They just go and buy the ETF from their 401k account, for example. What I'm a little bit more concerned is when you have a treasury company owning 3% of the all available Bitcoin, like for example Strategy, because behind Strategy you have board, and the Bitcoin, it's owned by the company itself. The Bitcoin is not owned by the investors. While on BlackRock you have people like me and you who actually can sell the Bitcoin. They can pretty much do whatever they want with their holdings. So I think the BlackRock case is actually very positive for the network, and the fact that you have a traditional financial company like BlackRock actively promoting Bitcoin, this actually opened a lot of doors for the community and a lot of doors for the further adoption. So I think this was, as I said at the beginning, this was one of the craziest turnovers I have seen. Like for people rejecting Bitcoin to have people actively promoting Bitcoin. It's crazy, and I think we are lucky to see this in our lifetimes.
We just have like a couple more minutes left before we wrap up this segment with you. But do you mind just? I guess I'm not quite sure of how, if you have bought this BlackRock ETF, how you are owning the Bitcoin specifically. Is it just sort of the way that the agreements and the contracts are drawn up? I guess yeah. Would you mind just sort of breaking that down a little bit more?
Yes, so I'm in general, I believe that every Bitcoin maxi should ensure they buy Bitcoin directly and not through ETFs. But particularly with the BlackRock one, after you purchase in this case the ETFs, you are receiving the equivalent of Bitcoin as IBIT shares. Can you withdraw your Bitcoin? Unfortunately, you cannot, but you're always available to sell your Bitcoin and then use the USD to immediately purchase a Bitcoin. And for example, you can do this pretty much every day. What you can do with your Bitcoin? Well, you can right now just enjoy the price appreciation. But if you really want to do something with your Bitcoin, you should use other solutions, like for example Zappo Bank, which is going to give you interest, which is going to give you opportunity to pay bank with your Bitcoin, and sure, it can be inherited. Yeah, it's much more flexible. But I also understand that for the average investor, it's much easier to open their traditional broker account, press one button, buy Bitcoin, and then go and explain that they're Bitcoin investors. At the end, that's not bad. That's not bad for anyone.